trying to get the informative information.
I have committed myself, Dr. Eve, to work with the team of attorneys.
I'm sorry, Seth.
I'm going to read it to you and give a just explanation of what it really means. Actually, I got some spelling. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Again, I was upset with the jury's verdict, but unfortunately, in the criminal justice system, we all know that it doesn't always weigh in our favor, but you have to go along with whatever the court or whatever. Upset with the jury's verdict, but unfortunately, in the criminal justice system, we all know that it doesn't always weigh in our favor, but you have to go along with whatever the court or whatever the court say.
We've been here in this country, the United States of America. Black people have always endured suffering. So for 400 years, there's a thing that, a statement that one of the psychologists say. And he said that if you continue to do the same thing over and over again and you expect different results, you can be classified as insane. So for 400 years, black people have been in this country. We've endured injustices by the justice system, and then we think that they're going to give us justice? No, sir. White people are not going to change our condition. We have to change our own condition.
Ma'am, would you like to make a statement regarding the court's decision regarding Mr. Zimmerman?
Well, to be very honest, I pretty much concur with my husband in that I wasn't surprised, but it still hurt me. I was hoping that maybe at this day and time they could demonstrate a change of heart. Unfortunately, they demonstrated what we had been anticipating. So my heart was broken. I cried and I went to work and I cried, and I'm still crying because I have 4 boys. These are 2.
4 boys. Hello, my name's Vernil Powell. We're representing People TV. Can I get your names, please?
Trayvon George.
Chris.
Christy.
Christy?
Yes.
Christopher George Jr.
All right, thank you. All right, I have just a couple of questions for you guys. How are you processing the court's decision, not guilty decision, regarding Mr. George Zimmerman?
It was kind of unfortunate for the entire family, as we understood the verdict and not what we expected, and kind of difficult for the kids to process it, because as they were growing up, they looked at the justice system as being a fair type of system, and when we looked at the evidence just being on the news, we felt that it was very unjust as a verdict, and it was kind of difficult for them, and that's why we're here today, to try to let out some of that energy and see where it can go from there.
Ma'am?
Yes, well, I feel that once I heard the verdict, I knew that it was unjust. And I was very sad. I was heartbroken as a mother. And I just felt like the justice system let Trayvon's family, the Martin family, down. And not only them, but the entire nation.
Can I get some of the kids? How do your kids think?
Well, I felt that George Zimmerman should have went to jail because everybody knows that he did shoot Trayvon Martin, and he should have went to jail. That's all I want to say.
Yeah?
Well, I agree with everyone else said. I just thought the verdict was I was very surprised by the verdict, and I thought he would at least get guilty for it, but it was shocking.
How old? How will you respond to persons' built-up anger over the results of the court's not guilty decision towards Mr. Zimmerman?
Again, I understand their anger, but I'm also proud of our people for how they've held back their anger, and they're processing it in the correct way. And we want to see, go through the justice system, give it another opportunity. So again, I understand the anger, and it's about time for us to get angry, be angry, but sin not. You know, that doesn't mean we have to take up arms, but it's okay to be angry, and we should be angry. As a matter of fact, we're past due for being angry.
What do you think your peers and community will do in response to perceived injustice? And we see part of it here. Do you think there may be any other reaction toward this case?
We're going to wait and see. We're going to see what the Justice Department does. We're going to see what happens I'm sure there'll be a civil case, and we'll see what happens then. But I tell you what I don't want to see them do, and that is for us to, as we say, tear up our own. Let's remain peaceful. Nonviolent protest. That's how we got this far. So let's continue at that.
Very good. Thank you, sir. All right. Okay, we have a few questions, and you guys feel free to home in if you like, okay? Okay, ma'am. How are you processing the court's decision regarding Mr. George Zimmerman?
I'm very upset. I just think about, I do have boys, and we live in, I'm not sure if you're familiar, but we live in Woodstock, Georgia, which is a predominantly white area. And I'm fearful for my children. I'm fearful for the fact that they could be walking home from school, they could be walking in our predominantly white neighborhood at any time and lose their lives, and this is supposed to be okay.
How will you respond to persons' built-up anger over the results of the court's not guilty decision toward Mr. Zimmerman?
I feel like the representation that we have out here is a positive representation. I know that people are angry because I was angry, but we don't need to fight back in an illegal way. We need to fight back legally. We need to make sure that the courts and the U.S. Justice Department know that we are furious with this decision, and I think that stand your ground law needs to be lifted everywhere.
How do you respond to persons' built-up anger over the results of the court's not guilty decision toward Mr. Zimmerman?
Well, the only thing that I could, as I explained to my daughter, is initially, everybody is always on emotions. You have to always step back and think, what can you do to help the situation, or what can you do to help create a better tomorrow? So my daughter, who's 17, and my youngest daughter, who's 10, won't have to go through the same thing that unfortunately Mr. Trayvon Martin had to go through. So you have to not get so emotionally involved and intellectually think, what can I do as a Black American to help my community? Get involved with your community, get involved with any services that you feel like that would help your race, and not take it or have this attitude like you're gonna hate everybody or all white people are bad or that kind of thing. You have to just think about it and do what you can do to help your situation or the situation at hand.
Very good. What do you think your peers and community will do in response to the perceived injustice toward Trayvon and his parents?
Well, I'm hoping, along with what I see out here today, which is beautiful, I'm hoping that we all can collectively come together, not only in our community, but get out and vote. Know what's going on in your community. Vote for the laws. The Stand Your Ground laws, as I'm told, is passed in more than just Florida. It's here in Georgia. So when things come about on the ballot, or when things come up, you need to know what's going on around you so you can vote down those type of things, or vote things that you feel like that are against you and your community. I'm hoping that with the president speaking and a lot of other Black leaders that are speaking up, that we can all rally together and see if some kind of change will come about from this. I'm not sure what that will be, but I'm hoping that collectively we all can get together and see if a change can come from this tragic event.
What can people do to channel their frustration? And you may have partly answered this question.
Yeah, things like this, peaceful demonstrations, peaceful rallies, getting out voting. You hear the young lady behind me speaking of registering to vote. Getting out, register to vote. Let your voice be heard, not only with chanting and marching and having this rage, intellectually knowing what's going on, being a part of something good. Your community, civic organizations, mentoring programs, all types of things that are already available and that's in place. People need to get to that side of it, not just the anger part of it, but just really trying to develop a sense of community and getting involved in your community, your children's life. I know they spoke about some things happening at home, just being involved.
This question, I'd like for you to elaborate as best you can on this. Do you agree that the African American community as a whole has to get busy? And again, you've partially answered this question. We need more work from more people. What do you think about that? Do we need more work? I know we have a good crowd here, but do we need even more work?
Yeah, we need more work. I mean, there's a great crowd out here. There's been crowds throughout the United States rallying around this cause. But again, we need more work to be done within our own communities, and that goes back to you guys getting involved, mentoring programs, helping everyone out. Unfortunately, the news has been stating about the statistics with the black on black crime. That's an issue that we have to address that issue as well within our own community. So I think any program or any type of positive things that we collectively can get involved in would be great. So yeah, a lot more people need to get involved.
Okay, if you're the prophet crying to the people, what's your message? And again, you've done very well to elaborate on this, but any specifics that you can think of regarding a message to the people?
My message to the people is do something. And when I say do something, I don't mean something erratic. I don't mean something, I don't mean burning, I hate to say it, but I don't mean destroying what we already have built. I mean, do something positive, get involved. Again, involved in anything that you feel that can help the community. If you see in your area or in your community, if you see something that's not right, get involved. Try and do something to help on a positive level, even if it's just taking in a young child or a young man. I mean, it seems to be the black male species are the ones that are at threat here. Helping out with that, doing what you can. Love thy neighbor, get involved. And that's the only thing that I have is that, we need to go back to really looking out for one another. And when I say looking out for one another, I don't mean just blacks. I don't mean just black people. I mean just as a neighborhood, getting involved and finding out what's going on and just help one another. That's the only way, communication and to help one another.
Very good answer.
As a woman and as a mother, how do you feel about what happened to Trayvon and the outcome?
As a mother, I did see Sabrina, Mrs. Fulton's interview a couple of times on TV, and honest to God, I really felt for her. As a mother, you just wouldn't realize I've never experienced it, thank God, but to get a message or a phone call, we all dread that phone call. To say that something has happened to your son or your daughter or a family member, as a mother, that it was heart-wrenching for me to actually see his parents sit and have to go through the trial, not only on the witness stand, but just really being out. But the only way that you can heal from that is to speak about it and do something about it. I don't have any sons. I only have 2 daughters, so I really can't. The single mother black ratio thing that I really can't kind of relate to that because I have 2 daughters, but I can only feel for any parent that actually has to raise a son now in this day and time as a single black mother with a young black male. It's heart-wrenching. It really is. The statistics that they're showing and saying that we all are aware of, we know it's there, but to do something about it, as a mother, I can only feel for those parents. My heart just really goes out to any parent, not only for a parent with sons, but just a parent, period, raising a teenager in this society today. It's unspeakable. I can't think of any other word that I could think of, but.
Hello, sir. Would you like to give us your name, please?
My name's Terrence Manning.
Yeah, I have a few questions regarding the Trayvon Martin case. This will only take a minute or two. Okay, how are you processing the court's decision regarding Mr. Zimmerman?
Well, now that I've moved past anger, I'd just like to see justice done, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't angry. Wanted to see something happen, but we realized that's not the correct thing to do. So just want to see justice done, and it's awesome to see us come together, to try and see justice done.
How will you respond to persons' built-up anger over the results of the court's not guilty decision towards Mr. Zimmerman?
Again, I understand their anger, but I'm also proud of our people for how they've held back their anger and they're processing it in the correct way. And we want to see, go through the justice system, give it another opportunity. So again, I understand the anger, and it's about time for us to get angry. Be angry, but sin not. That doesn't mean we have to take up arms, but it's okay to be angry, and we should be angry. As a matter of fact, we're past due for being angry.
What do you think your peers and community will do in response to perceived injustice? And we see part of it here. Do you think there may be any other reaction toward this case?
We're going to wait and see. We're going to see what the Justice Department does. We're going to see what happens I'm sure there'll be a civil case, and we'll see what happens then. But I tell you what I don't want to see them do, and that is for us to, as we say, tear up our own. Let's remain peaceful. Nonviolent protest. That's how we got this far. So let's continue at that.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Ma'am, would you like to home in on this question?
I can piggyback off what my husband said. I'm proud of us today, how we all came out and represented in Atlanta and all in other cities across America, and I think it's time for us to actually stand for what we believe in.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, ma'am. My name is Vernil Powell. We're doing a segment for People TV. Would you like to give us your name, please?
Okay, I'm Tamelia, and these are my boys and my nephews, Kobe.
Roderick.
Rodriguez.
Marquavius.
Tell them your
Oh,
name, baby.
good-looking young man.
Tay.
Tay.
Tay, all right. Okay, we have a few questions, and you guys feel free to home in if you like, okay? Okay, ma'am. How are you processing the court's decision regarding Mr. George Zimmerman?
I'm very upset. I just think about, I do have boys, and we live in, I'm not sure if you're familiar, but we live in Woodstock, Georgia, which is a predominantly white area. And I'm fearful for my children. I'm fearful for the fact that they could be walking home from school, they could be walking in our predominantly white neighborhood at any time and lose their lives, and this is supposed to be okay.
How will you respond to persons' built-up anger over the results of the court's not guilty decision toward Mr. Zimmerman?
I feel like the representation that we have out here is a positive representation. I know that people are angry because I was angry, but we don't need to fight back in a illegal way. We need to fight back legally. We need to make sure that the courts and the U.S. Justice Department know that we are furious with this decision, and I think that stand your ground law needs to be lifted everywhere. Anywhere it exists, it needs to be lifted.
Okay, we see part of the reaction, community reaction here today. What do you think your peers and community will do in response? And again, we see part of that response toward Trayvon and his parents.
I think not only should it happen today, but until justice is served, we need to continue to come out in droves like we are today. I mean, we have to fight for what we want. We know that it's not going to come easy to us. Of course, Zimmerman was never arrested until we had community activists out like we are now, and that's when he was charged. So until justice is served, I think we need to continue to do this.
Any young mission about? Okay, why do you think people are out here today?
Because
Regarding Mr. Zimmerman, the case in Florida regarding Trayvon Martin?
they out here because a white man shot a black person for no reason because he was just white for no reason, and he just shot him for no reason because he was a black person.
Very good, very good. Would you like to answer this question? Why do you think people are out here today regarding Trayvon Martin and the George Zimmerman case?
Because Zimmerman, he just shot Trayvon Martin for no reason, and we're out here because we want justice, and we want this to be solved.
We like justice. Very good, very good. Sir, why do you think people are out here today?
Just to get justice for Trayvon Martin, because he was basically shot for no reason, and they wanted to go back on his school history and say that he was a bad kid when he really wasn't. He was just walking home from going to the store, and he was suspected as being crazy and all of that.
So they tried to use his school history and his history to confuse the court.
Yes, sir.
Sir, would you like to answer, or why do you think people are out here today?
Because Trayvon Martin didn't deserve what because he ain't deserve what he got. He was shot for no reason for walking home. Yeah, and they tried to go back on his stuff, try to go back on his school records. They ain't deserve what he did.
Very good, very good. Ma'am, is there anything you would say to your boys regarding the situation in this country today, and stand your ground, racial profiling?
I actually talk to my boys daily because it's a constant battle with them and with with the world that we live in. So I talk to them daily. I want them to be safe, but I also feel like they should have, the same rights as any other teenage person walking the streets. I definitely have talked to them since this incident, just to let them know that just because people smile and people appear to be friendly, they're not friendly. They don't have your best interest at heart. So we have to make sure that we're aware of our surroundings, and being aware of your surroundings is not always looking for someone who's of our skin color, who we think is going to hurt us or harm us as far as robbing or stealing. You have to be aware of your surroundings as far as all races are concerned, because you have people that are out here looking for reasons and excuses to take your life, and that's exactly what happened with Trayvon.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good job. Good job.
It is not the benediction, but it is the beginning. God bless you. Give God. Thank you for coming out. Thank you for your support today. Please be careful. Have a safe journey back to your homes or back to your road of transportation. I continue to look forward. If you see someone needing some help today, help them so that we all can continue to move forward. Have a great day. Members of the media interested in the soundbite and the building, being right in front of the staging area. Members of the soundbite, right in front of the staging area. Right here now, the lawyers, where's Battle Round? All the lawyers, right up there. Lawyers on the left, preachers right here. Preachers right here. This is John Lewis.
Thank you. Outrage without any people coming out to the streets and staying at the streets. The only reason they took Zimmer and locked Zimmer down was because people came into the streets, not because the system worked.
Take a long way. Okay, one more. Let me get a long way. Look. I want to get everybody in. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Say you should put on your shirt.
Real cool. They may be free.